So, ladies and gentlemen, Sherri Simmons is about to come on. How to take care of yourself underneath the hat. We're going to dive into some gold, out to empower women. This woman, Sherri, is a gem. Make sure you stay tuned. Before that, we're going to talk about the sponsor message. If you are an entrepreneur, you're a high achiever, influencer, someone who wants to make a big difference in the world, you're purpose-driven entrepreneur coach, and you want to share your message, you want to ignite people around you, give your greatest gifts and impact more people. That's what I love working with people on, is actually starting a podcast, starting a movement to ignite the people around you, to awaken their gifts, their abilities, add value, deliver your gifts, and change the world. So if you want to find out more, send me an email, chris@beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook, facebook.com/th3 Burns. Looking forward to talking to you about how your purpose is going to awaken the world. Now, let's talk about the iTunes review of the week. This week, it's by Anthony A93. Anthony says, Chris the man burns. Every podcast episode gets better and better. Not only that, you can tell how present and interested Chris is in each of the experts he brings on the show. Thank you so much, Anthony. I appreciate you. If you want to give us a review, let us know what you love, what we can improve on to make the show even better for you. Go to beyourgps.com/iTunes, or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store and give us your feedback there. Thanks so much. I appreciate you sending lots of love, and make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for all the updates, okay? Next, I'm going to be introducing Sherri, okay? Before I bring her on, though, I want to remind you, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes, because this woman is going to share the gold with you. She's going to illuminate how you can truly step into your self-care, your self-love, and really treating yourself how you should, with so much love and compassion and greatness. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's introduce her, and then we will bring her on the screen. Miss Sherri Simmons is a wife and a mother to her beagle, KB. She is the oldest of 4 children, 2 sisters, 1 brother, and the aunt to 3 nephews. She's been an educator in the Chicago public schools for 13 years, where she has taught 3rd, 1st, intermediate math, served as an assistant principal, and is currently working as a STEM, STEM, integration specialist. She is also the founder and president of Young Ladies at All Times, NFP Y.L.A.A.T, a mentoring program for young girls. She began writing Underneath the Hat in 2013 after her separation from her very first husband. The book served as therapy for her to get through the ordeal. Due to the book, she has expanded her brand to a YouTube web series and a radio show of the same name. She hopes that others will be helped as they learn through her journey of rediscovering who she is by revealing what's underneath the hat. Sherri, are you ready to rock the house?
I am ready, Chris.
Yes, you are ready. We're now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, Sherri. Thank you for being here and just all that you're doing for these women, especially these young women who are looking for guidance and you know, to feel worthy, to feel enough, to feel loved, and you're really providing a safe space to do that. So I really appreciate what you're doing, because that's so needed in the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You deserve so much praise and acknowledgement for what you're doing. And we're going to dive right into this theme, which is the power of platform, a powerful platform, your powerful platform. So Sherri, how does this concept of your powerful platform come up for you? What does that mean for you?
My idea of a powerful platform is being willing to be transparent and open in order to share your testimony.
Yeah.
I've learned so much over these years that God has taken me from a place where I felt like I was by myself, that no one understood what I was going through, to now I'm able to be comfortable in the skin that I'm in and comfortable with the trials and tribulations that I've gone through in order to share them with someone else, because I realized that my testimony may be a blessing to someone else.
Yeah. Someone who's struggling with something that you went through, you know, you can really provide them with hope that they're not alone, that it's not hopeless, you know, really give them that inspiration to keep going. I think that's what a lot of people are looking for, is just to keep going. And that's a very powerful use of your platform, Sherri. So I mentioned your introduction, your bio, a little bit about you, but in your own words, why don't you share what you're creating and what your stand is for these young ladies?
Okay, so my name is Sherri Simmons, and I really am excited about the platform I have of working with young ladies at all times.
Mm.
It originally started as a research paper for my master's program.
Wow.
And I was just watching the students that I was teaching in intermediate math at a school in Chicago Public Schools. And I realized that a lot of the actions that they took as far as dealing with conflict came from reality TV.
Mm.
And so I started to research the impact of reality TV on the lives of
Mm.
young girls within the intermediate age group, which is third through fifth grade.
Wow.
So from there, I started building the idea and concept of a mentoring program, because so often some of these girls, their only idea of how to carry themselves as young ladies is through television.
Mm.
So I decided to start this program in order to show them other ways and other paths that they could take
Mm.
of carrying themselves as young ladies at all times.
Wow, that's so powerful, and I think we don't recognize what the media, the influence that it has on us until it's too late, you know, and like years, decades after being raised, and then we
Right.
get to undo all of that program. So I really love that you started investigating that, and that was something that you saw makes a significant impact on the development of these young ladies.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. So you started recognizing that, and then how did you really get this mission to serve the young women in a big way and support them and give them that safe space?
I started in 2017 was my first time.
Yeah,
And it really is true that you should be very careful about how you treat people, because you never know who might have to speak up for you in the room.
yeah,
And because of a relationship that I had had with the pastor of the Congregational Church of Park Manor in Chicago, where I grew up, he spoke to the principal at Park Manor School.
wow,
And she allowed for me to come in, never knowing me personally,
wow,
but understanding and hearing the things that he had to say about me. And so I piloted my program at Park Manor School in March of 2017.
yeah,
2018, I took a year off because of medical issues. And so now, this year, I started in March with two schools.
wow,
Now I'm at Wentworth Elementary, where I work, and
mm,
I'm at Nicholson STEM Academy,
wow,
where I co-lead with one of my board of directors, Yvette Baker. So it has been amazing to be able to increase the amount of girls that I get to deal with,
mm.
and hopefully be able to expand the different cohorts in the future.
I want to dive into this pilot and what the objectives are and what's the process that you're taking these young ladies through.
So, what we do is our mission is to make sure that we empower them mind, body, and spirit.
Hmm.
And so, one thing that we do at the beginning of each meeting and at the end of it is we do our mantra.
Okay.
So, we take the initials of Y.L.A.A.T
Mhm.
and they recite, "You are important.
Mhm.
Love yourselves first.
Mhm.
Always try your best. A smile goes a long way, and touch the lives of someone every day."
Wow.
So I instill in them various activities where they'll be able to practice these
Mhm.
values. Just yesterday and Monday, they did an etiquette class. They learned how to enter a room, how to sit at a table, how to eat at a table. So trying to show them various things that will help them in the future.
Mm.
And also, one of the biggest things that I want to do is surround them with women who look like them, who grew up like them, so that they can see that I have other ways that I can go besides what I see on television.
Wow.
So based on what their goals are and dreams are, as far as a career,
Yeah.
I'm bringing women in that are already in those fields, so
Mm.
that they have a connection and a mentor that they can talk to in order to steer them in the right direction.
Wow, that's incredible. So you give them a real life role model instead of the TV, which is it's drama, right? That's what sells. That's what the ratings are looking for is drama on TV, cat fighting, and just women not being respectable women. It's usually like there's trash on TV versus we want to empower these women to have good values, good morals, be respectful, the good etiquette, like you were talking about. What are some of the ways that you teach these women, these young women, the etiquette. And you mentioned role models. That's probably one of the ways. It's like, hey, there's a real life example. What other ways can you show them so that they're open to learning and they want to be respectable and behave in a proper way?
Well, one way we do it is we have rap sessions where every
Mm,
week we sit in a circle and we talk about a peak and a valley. So
mm,
they discuss one good thing that happened to them that week or one negative thing.
mm,
And instead of them just sharing the negative, I ask them, well, what could you have done differently?
yeah.
So I'm all about self reflection, making sure that they learn something from whatever it is that they went through the first time so they don't make the same mistake again.
Mm,
Also, we do different outings. We do a monthly outing so that they're able to practice the different values that we've gone over for the month.
yeah.
So we went our first fellowship activity. We all went bowling. So
Mm,
both sets of girls from both schools got to meet each other.
yeah.
And then at the end of this month, we're going to a restaurant so they can practice their etiquette skills at a
Mm,
table
mm,
and actually get to converse and interact with other people to
mm.
see other ways of carrying themselves.
So beautiful. And how did you know that you wanted to create a new program? Could you not find anything like this in the marketplace and you knew you had to create it?
I had heard of different other programs that were going on, but this one just kept speaking to me about carrying myself because I carried myself as a young lady at all times, going
Yeah.
through all of the trials and tribulations I did with my first marriage.
Yeah.
Because of all the things that had been exposed to me,
Mm,
I didn't go off the deep end and overreact or act in the moment. I was more responsive instead of reactive. And
mm,
so I wanted to instill those same values in them and let them know that you'll be put in situations throughout life. And it all, one decision that you make can determine what direction your life goes into.
mm,
So I just wanted to allow for them to have those same experiences and have some of those same values instilled in them
yeah.
so that they would make some of the same decisions that I made.
Was Sherry, was there one person or a number of people who made a difference for you in your life, like mentors, women who were good role models for you?
Yes, my first role model was my mother.
Mm,
She had me when she was 17 years old.
no.
And she could have easily just let it go. That was it. But one thing about my mother and her generation was they wanted more for their children than they had.
Yeah.
And so, because she wasn't where she wanted to be at the time that I was born and she was raising me, she made sure that she surrounded me with women who were where she wanted me to be.
That's
And
awesome.
ultimately, she ended up getting her bachelor's degree and
Mm,
two master's degrees after she raised three children.
wow.
So even that didn't stop her because of a decision that she made that resulted in children. It never stopped her from reaching the goals that she had. And
Mm,
from her having the ability to surround me with women who were where she ultimately wanted me to be,
mhm,
I was able to go to school, get my bachelor's degree. I earned two master's degrees.
mm,
I'm working on my doctorate.
mm,
So a lot of the opportunities that I had from traveling around the world, going to Broadway plays, having all these opportunities to be cultured, I learned from the people that my mother surrounded me
mm. Wow. What were the qualities and characteristics of those people that you admired and that your mom made sure that you learned from and role modeled?
The biggest one was that they were all self determined.
Mm,
Regardless of the things that they had gone through, they
wow.
made sure that they did what it was that they had set their mind to.
Mm,
And they were all goal oriented. They had a goal in mind and they would stop at nothing until they had reached that goal.
wow.
Also, they were very persistent
Mhm,
and also able to learn from their mistakes. They always reflected on the decisions that they made in
mm,
order to make sure that they didn't make them again. And they were willing to share their journey with me so
yeah,
that I didn't make the same mistakes that they made. And it used to scare me at first because I always wondered why was I experiencing so much so fast in my life.
Yeah.
But God told me, He says, because you pay attention.
Mm.
I don't have to repeat some of the same mistakes over and over again because I learned from a person I saw go through it
Mm.
what not to do. And instead of me doing it, bumping my head on purpose, I went in a different direction. So
Mm.
because I was very observant and reflective of the things that I was doing and seeing, a lot of opportunities opened for me that I was able to walk through the door instead of having to stumble around until I found my way to the door.
Man, that's powerful. How does someone know if they're being reflective enough to integrate the lesson and the wisdom and not make the same mistake twice? Because even I catch myself, like I feel like I've learned this lesson before. I thought I talked about this with someone, and I'm not supposed to
Mhm.
do this again. So how do you know if you actually learn the lesson?
I realized I had learned the lesson when it's a for me it's a certain peace that comes over you
Yeah.
when you are faced with that obstacle again and
Mm.
you do something different and get a different result.
Mm. Yeah.
And so I've always learned, especially being the oldest, you make the most mistakes first and then your younger siblings learn from you. So I learned, okay, well, based on the reaction of my parents, I probably
Mm.
shouldn't do that again.
Yep.
Now, as a kid, I did it several times after that. But the older that I got, I realized that there is
Mm.
um, a positive and negative reaction.
Yeah.
And so if it's positive, then you know, okay, that was probably a good thing that you did.
Mm.
But if it's negative and the people around you are looking at you crazy and things don't turn out the way that you wanted to, it's probably not the route that you should have taken. But I realize now with my relationship with God having
Mm.
becoming stronger than it was before, that I can hear him when he speaks to me.
Mm.
And so I know whether or not this is something that I should be doing or not be doing.
Mm.
And also, most of the time, I know that it's God because it's something I really don't want to do,
Yeah.
but I know I should be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the devil always plays on the things that you like.
Yep.
So if it's something that you really want to do, then I know this probably isn't God speaking. So I always listen for the voice of God telling me what it is He wants to do, and
Yeah.
look.
Mm. Mm. Sheree, I love it. That's super, super powerful. I want to know if there is I think the primary age is it third to fifth grade? Is that the primary age of the young ladies that you work with? Oh.
As you can hear, that's my dog. Baby. Hey, hi. So the primary age for the girls is we have fourth, fifth, and sixth grade girls,
Okay.
and also seven.
Okay.
So that's the primary age for my girls.
Uh-huh.
And so we go from 10 to 15 years old.
Okay.
In some cases, some of the girls are, one of the girls is 15. So I tried to choose that age in order to make sure that they're still within the same age,
Mm.
but they're able to have a direct communication with each other and also see each other with.
Mm. Mm. So it's that you wanted them to be close enough to have relatability, whereas an 8-year-old doesn't have that much in common with, let's say, a 12-year-old. But between the ages of 10 to about 15, that's like the optimal. Hey, they're still close enough together where they can relate to each other.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't want
that's
them to be too far away apart from each other where they couldn't relate to some of the things that were being done. But also, my sixth and seventh grade girls can serve as big sisters
yeah.
to the fourth and fifth grade girls. Yeah.
Mm, that's good. That's good. So the primary age is 10 to 15 or so. If one of
Mhm,
those women was tuning in right now, what would be
mhm.
the main message you really wanted to get across to those young ladies? That young
The
lady.
main message that I want to get across to them is for them to realize that it may seem hard now,
Mm.
but that you can overcome it.
Yeah.
And if you open yourself up and are transparent and ask for help, then it's someone that you see on a daily basis that has gone through the exact same things that you have gone through. And I had to learn that lesson at a much older age. I didn't really learn that until about 5 or 6 years ago, after going through everything with my first marriage, because I felt alone. And it wasn't until I started being transparent and sharing my story that I realized that there are people out here that you see on a daily basis who have gone through the same thing as you and overcome.
Yeah.
And so I want to start that early with the girls and letting them know that it's okay for you to share your story, that sometimes your breakthrough is through someone else's testimony. So allowing for them to share their stories and hear from somebody else what happened to them, and they can make the decision whether to follow what they said or make the decision to go in the other direction and sometimes bump their heads, but still know that if I need to turn back, there's somebody back there that's gone through it too.
Beautiful. So that's really powerful, especially if there's parents of these young women who might be listening. They can relay that message. And another angle I would love for you to share, if you know that there's a parent of one of these young ladies listening, what would you tell the parent? What does the parent need to know to be able to relate better or to have a more harmonious experience with them? What advice would you give to a parent?
The advice I would give to a parent is that this program is helping to create and build up a woman with self-esteem and also with vision. I want the parents to know that their daughters are being well taken care of, that our main purpose is to make sure that they go down a path that's right for them and give them multiple opportunities that they have at their hands instead of them just seeing the trees instead of the forest. I want to open up their vision to where they can see the whole forest instead of just the things they see outside their window. In order to let them know that everyone has a purpose and for them to realize and help them realize what their purpose is and how to get there.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I also hear like being able to see things from different dimensions, kind of taking them out of just being in the reactive, like, hey, you're just a kid, you got to suck it up, into, hey, you are the creator, you get to design this, what feels good to you, what do you like, what are the values that are important to you. It's almost like having a dialogue to be able to understand their view of the world, their map of the world, and being able to say, okay, well, I see that you're missing this part. It sounds like you have a challenge with communication. It sounds like you don't really know what your purpose is. So it's like having a dialogue to find out what are the missing pieces to put that in place so that they can be well-rounded.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Super cool. So Sherri, why did you write the book, Underneath the Hat?
So I wrote the book Underneath the Hat. It was really started as therapy. I had gone through my first marriage, and it was very interesting, to say the least. I found out so much about the person I was married to, the people in my circle, and also ultimately about myself. So again, with the whole self-reflection thing, I wanted to make sure that I did not make the same mistakes twice. So writing everything down that happened to me was great because I got to get it out. And then ultimately that allowed for me to share with other people. And from there, I realized that other women around me had gone through the same thing and survived. And one thing I wanted to make sure that I put at the end of each chapter was the lesson and the purpose that I learned within that chapter. So I don't just leave it as, oh, she's being messy, she's telling her business, but what did I learn from each experience that happened to me so I wouldn't make the same mistake again?
That's great. What were one or two of the most powerful lessons that you learned in the process?
Whew. One thing that I learned was that I was worshiping and idolizing my ex-husband more than I was worshiping the Father, which is God. I had a closer relationship with my husband. I knew who God was, but he didn't have as much power and authority over me as my ex-husband did. And so my relationship with God increased as my first marriage decreased. And God ultimately had to just pull me out of the situation and remove me completely away in order for me to be closer to Him. And the second lesson I learned was that I need to be very careful with the people I allow around me.
Yeah.
I was so naive in my first marriage because we met when I was 16. We got married when I was 23. So he ultimately was the only boyfriend that I've had. Wow. And to go from boyfriend to husband, it was all about him. Yeah. So I allowed for the people that he wanted to be around me to serve as my friends. And they were all on the same page as him, which was manipulation and control. So it has opened my eyes now more to be very careful about the people that I allow around me so that they ultimately don't suck the purpose and the vision out of me, and that I put people around me who have the same mindset that I do.
Yeah. And I love that, having the same mindset. You mentioned that they were in the past manipulative and controlling. What are the new values that you think are important for people in your inner circle?
The things that are important for those that are in my inner circle is that you have to be confident in yourself. Because of the journey that God has taken me on, and it's moving so fast. Just from January, when I totally submitted to God and said, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And now here I am in April on a podcast with you. Yeah. So it's been happening that fast. Yes. Just that fast from January. Wow. And so he's put the right people in my life who have their own vision, their own purpose. They're not intimidated by what I'm doing, how fast I'm moving. They know who they are. They're strong in their confidence in themselves. And so I don't feel like I have to fight other people in order to help me get to where God wants me to be. So definitely having self-confidence and self-esteem in yourself in order to not only focus on what you're doing, but also to help me to get to where I need to be as well.
I love that. That's so powerful. I think that's a common block for both men and women, is the lack of self-confidence, the lack of self-esteem, because when that happens, there's either, with men, the typical is distance, right? I can't show my real emotions. I can't really be vulnerable and authentic with you because I'm afraid I won't be enough. That's what goes through most American men's minds. And with women, it's like there's the catty kind of mindset of like, if I'm not good enough, I'm not going to let you be good enough, and I'm going to take you down, right? And so it's like when someone shines, some of the mindset that is out there is like, I'm going to bring you down, I'm going to tear you down, and not like really empower you. Versus what you're creating and what I create is people who love seeing us succeed. They encourage us, they applaud us, they celebrate us. They're like, you're awesome, keep going,
Right.
Yeah. Yes. It's so amazing. So you really wrote the book to share those lessons and to really make sure that people didn't have to feel alone or feel like, or go through the same thing. It was very cathartic for you, being able to channel that, what had happened, and put it into something that would really make a difference for you as well as for others. Do you see yourself writing another book in the future?
Yes, actually, I have finished another book, but I haven't gotten it published. So the way that I work is I record it on my phone, and then that way you can feel as if I'm actually speaking to you through the pages.
Wow.
So that's exactly what happened with the first book. People were like, "Oh my God, I felt like you were sitting there telling me the story," because I wanted to make sure that the voice was correct and it was authentic when you read the book. So I've recorded all of my chapters. This book is going to focus on my journey with infertility, and it's going to be called "It's That Size for a Reason." So it talks about my journey from growing up as a little girl and all of the things that led to me having issues with infertility,
Mm.
and God ultimately revealing why all of these things happen.
Mm.
And that's where the title comes from, is that size for a reason. So I like to do a play on words, just like with underneath the hat. It talks about um, people and the things that we deal with underneath that we don't share with everyone,
Mm.
but also it's the staple uniform for a first lady, which
Mm.
was the role that I had with my first husband.
Wow.
So my second book, I'm working on writing everything down, getting a manuscript together, and ultimately getting it published.
That's amazing. Great job. That's beautiful. Did you know you wanted to be a writer when you were growing up?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I used to write plays when I was like 9 and 10
That's
years
awesome.
old,
Wow.
but I never thought that I would be an author.
Mm.
Like, I knew my sister probably would be an author, but no, not me. I was fine with being an educator. I used to play teacher when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what I thought I was going to be.
Wow.
But the path that I have been taking on has been amazing. And I'm just glad that my book has been able to help, if it was just one person
Yeah.
who was able to realize that you're not by yourself, you don't have to suffer in silence,
Mm.
then that was enough for me. But being able to share my story and share my platform with other people
Mm.
has been so amazing. And I'm glad that it wasn't something that I wanted to do, but that I was chosen to do,
Mm.
because that way it removes myself from it, and it allows for me to focus on the people that I'm ultimately here to help, which
Mm.
are those men and women out there that feel like they're by themselves.
Yeah. So amazing. I got a question in terms of
Mhm.
it was just on the tip of my tongue. I was listening. I was like, yes, you're helping these men and women. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so in terms of your communication, that's what I want to say. You have profound, very eloquent, powerful, concise communication. I'm curious, how did that develop over the years? Why did you develop effective communication?
I would say that comes from the church I grew up in.
Mm.
They were, I call them the aristocrats. They were very, everyone had master's degrees or doctorates, and there was a certain way that you spoke. When you
Wow.
enter the room, you say good morning, and the person said good morning, how are you? You responded back. So I received boot camp at church.
Wow.
And every fifth Sunday, they would allow, or there were like four fifth Sundays in a year,
Mm.
they would allow the youth to take over the program.
Wow.
And so I got to practice reading in front of people. I got to
Mm.
practice making eye contact. So a lot of my training came from church.
Wow.
And then because of the people that were there,
Mm.
because of the people that were members there, I was able to go to school
Mm.
and get multiple degrees, which also led to me being um, able to hold a conversation and stop saying as many times if I've said it already. So I've definitely a lot from the people at church. They have definitely been my strong foundation on
Mm.
who I am today.
Mm. Wow, that's amazing. As far as being a part of a community like that, do you think everyone it's like a necessity to get around highly educated, highly influential, high wealth, those types of people? Is that, would you say that's important, or is there a bigger priority or something within that that made a bigger difference?
I don't think that you need to necessarily be around people who have multiple
Mm.
degrees. I just believe that you need to be around people who are where you want to be. And
Mm.
that can be different for everyone.
Yeah.
I believe that we all have an idea, a vision of where we want to be.
Mhm.
And so just trying to surround yourself with people that are already where you plan on going.
Yeah.
Because I heard someone say that if you're the smartest person in your circle is not a very smart circle. So you have to surround yourself with people who know more than you,
Yeah.
so that you can learn from them. But you
Yeah.
also have to humble yourself to realize that you're not the smartest person. I can learn something from somebody else, and that I have something to offer as well.
Yeah. And I've also heard that concept as, if you're the smartest person in the room, it's time to get a new room. It's time to go
And
somewhere with with
yes,
with more influential people who can help you and empower you to grow, because it's when people are in that comfort zone of being the smartest person in the room that they're in control. They feel like they're in control. They're feeding their ego. They're feeding the priority of staying where they are and being dominant and stuff like that. It's like, that's not the reason why we're here. We're here to grow. We're here to expand.
right, exactly.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, what has it been like working in the school district? What have been some of your greatest lessons and wisdom from that?
I have been so blessed to have been with Chicago Public Schools for 14 years now.
Hmm.
And throughout my training, I've been able to move into different positions.
Uh-huh.
So my foundation was set when I was a Golden Apple Scholar.
Hmm.
So before I even went into the classroom, I was trained by retired teachers.
Wow.
This Golden Apple program. And so I went in knowing things that people who had been teaching for 15, 20 years had no access to.
Hmm.
And so by having that foundation, I was able to win awards where I was beating out 200 and something teachers in my second year as a teacher to win a drive award. And then I ended up winning grants and different proposals and awards. So from there, I started getting more advanced degrees,
Hmm.
and I ended up going into administration as an assistant principal,
Wow.
where I learned so much from those that had hired me. And from there, now I'm a coach, an instructional coach with STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and math.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to encompass my time in the classroom along with my time as an administrator, where I get to work with the students and also coach the teachers as well. So me being an educator has been one of the best parts of my life, because I knew at 14 years old that I was meant to be a teacher,
Hmm.
and to be able to have that opportunity to live out my goal and my purpose has been amazing.
Yeah. This is beautiful. Sherri, one thing I really love about you is the entrepreneurial mindset that you really bring to education. And for me, I
Mhm.
know there's a typical mindset
Yes.
that educators are they have like the biggest heart in the world, and they are going into a system typically
Mm.
that doesn't support them in actually making the transformation and the impact and the difference that they signed up for, right? Like, they want to make a huge impact, they want to make a difference, and oftentimes there's a lot of rules and stuff that stop them from doing that. And I see that you are more going outside of the lines in ways to make the difference that you're capable of. And I see a very entrepreneurial mindset with you. Would you consider yourself an entrepreneur, an intrapreneur? Do you use either of those words, or what would you say is the philosophy that you bring that has you step into these different gifts and live your purpose in a big way, and write books and start programs? Like, this is incredible stuff. What would you say motivates you to do that? What's your identity? How do you see yourself?
Well, I actually realized that I was an entrepreneur in like February. I was at a book signing, and we had a group circle, and they were all talking. This was my first time selling my books. So I was excited. I got invited somewhere, and one of the people that spoke has been an author of 3 books now, and she
Wow.
said that basically an entrepreneur is someone who um, follows their purpose.
Mm.
I said, oh, okay, I do that. So, but then recently I heard someone talk about a CEO. And so I'm like, okay, a CEO, okay, that means you run, you're the head honcho. But then because I'm a teacher and we love acronyms,
Yeah.
I decided to change the CEO to chase each opportunity. So I would say that I'm a CEO and that I chase each opportunity that is presented in front of me. Every dream, vision that God has shown me, I've gone out and I've chased it and put everything that I can into it. I'm the type of person where if I can't give you 110%, I'm not going to waste my time or yours.
Wow.
And I only chase after things that I know that I can give 110%. And from me doing that, so many doors and opportunities have opened for me. So even with the book, I gave 110%. When I first wrote it, it sat for a long time until my husband was like, you really need to push this. But I knew that I mentally and spiritually wasn't ready yet. And once I became ready, doors started to open. And the same thing with my foundation, Young Ladies at All Times. Once I was able to do 110%, so many opportunities have opened for not only me, but for the girls. So once I've realized what my goal was and vision was, I started to chase each opportunity.
Wow, that's incredible. And you mentioned the foundation you started. I know you also are starting a channel, a YouTube channel, I believe, a YouTube series. Tell us a little bit more about these different avenues that you're serving the world in big ways, these different platforms. It's incredible. Tell us about those.
So the YouTube series started to go along with the different chapters of my book. So as an educator, you have those students that are auditory learners. They learn by hearing. You have those that are tactile. They need to touch things. You have those that are visual learners. They need to see it. And so I wanted to make sure that I touched on every aspect of people so that they can hear my testimony and end up getting their breakthrough as well. So I decided to do these web series for those visual people who needed to see. And it also allows for me to open up the platform for others to share their stories as well. So once a month, I film at least 2 or 3 tapings based on different topics that I discuss in my book. And I have 2 or 3 guests to come on and share their story. And I'm all about not tearing down the foundation, but also helping them to build it back up. So now that we know what the problem is, how do we fix it? What tools can they use? So I make sure I have a therapist or a case manager, a social worker on the panel as well to give them different techniques that they can use. So I know a lot of people think the word therapy is taboo. So I try to give them free therapy without them having to sit on someone's couch. So they get to sit and hear someone else share their testimony and get the help that they need. So we've discussed mother-daughter relationships, father-daughter relationships, love and marriage, talking about marriage from a newlywed standpoint and also a seasoned couple. We've talked about women on the move, discussing entrepreneurs and women that are doing various things. We've also touched on dating in the 21st century and friendship. And so this month, we're going to be working on finances, getting their money and things together, learning how to budget. And we're also going to be dealing with religion versus relationship and what's the difference. So I try to touch on different topics that can relate to other people and doing the same thing with the radio show, which I just started in March.
Wow.
And basically touching on the same topics, but allowing people to call in and have an opportunity to share their thoughts around those same topics that I cover on the web series.
Wow, this is incredible, Sherri. Do you feel like there's a lot of irons in the fire? There's a lot of things you're juggling, chasing each of these opportunities. It feels like intense, girl.
Oh my God, yes. But what is crazy, Chris, is I didn't realize until about 4 weeks ago, God woke me up. I was supposed to go to work. I had every plan on going to work, and he was like, no, you're not going today. I'm
Mm.
like, okay, but I got stuff to do. So he was like, no, I need you to go to the movies, get a massage, get your nails done. I need you to have a me day. And so I didn't realize it until other people pointed it out. Like, you've been moving every week. You're doing something. But because it's something that is not about me,
Yeah.
because self has been taken out of the way, I didn't even realize that I was overwhelmed and needed a break.
Wow.
And so that's when I realized at that moment on that day that you've been doing what you're supposed to do. And once you take yourself out of the way,
Mm.
then things move so fast that you don't even realize that you haven't taken a break.
Wow. And it's like you're living your purpose. You're in alignment with your purpose. So things are in flow. They're just going. It's moving. I love how you shared that, cuz when you're doing that work and taking yourself out of the picture, serving others, listening to divine guidance and receiving that and taking action on it, and just being in alignment with that higher purpose, that's where the magic happens. That's where the miracles happen.
Yes,
That's awesome.
exactly.
I love it. I love it. So, if there's any final pieces of wisdom you really wanted to give our audience to be able to increase their self-care, improve their self-care and really take care of themselves underneath the hat. Anything else that you'd really recommend for us? Any pieces of wisdom or exercises or different ways to see things, see the whole big picture. And I think we are going to get reconnected soon. We are definitely going to get reconnected soon. So Sherri is bringing the heat. She's doing so much. And I love how she mentioned that it's through, hey, there's two of me. What up? You're back.
Oh, sorry.
We're getting this internet to work. It's working. Waving the magic wand. Da-da-da-da. Texting you out there, Richard. I'll send you the Zoom, bruh. I just like to make faces, dance, and have fun. Are we rocking and rolling?
Yes. I don't know what happened, but I'm like, let me go back. I need to go
I love it. Well, we're here and now, and I was
back.
asking in terms of the self care and really
Yeah.
taking care of ourselves, and especially underneath the hat when other
Yeah.
people might not see it or notice what's going on. We're trying to keep it all together. Anything else you'd really recommend for that self care for our audience?
Oh, the one thing that I learned from self care is that you have to make time for yourself.
Yeah.
I believe that I told my girls the first week, I showed them an empty water bottle and I said, you can't pour out of something that you don't have.
Mm,
And in order for you to be able to help other people, you need to make sure that you're full as well.
wow.
And I know a lot of women who feel like they're being selfish. And I tell them all the time, it's okay to be selfish
Yep.
because in order for you to help other people, you have to take care of yourself.
Hmm.
And if there's nothing left, then they're not receiving what it is that they need from you either. So
Hmm.
you're really not serving them if you're running on empty.
That's right. Got to prioritize filling up your own cup first,
Yeah.
taking that time for yourself. And I think the biggest thing that I've found works for me is putting it
Mhm.
in the schedule. If it doesn't get in the schedule, if it's not on the planner, calendar, whatever, it doesn't get done. That's it for
Yeah.
me. I live and die
Mhm.
by my calendar. If it's not there, then good luck.
And even on the plane, I love to travel. And one thing they tell you is if anything should happen in an event of emergency, put your mask on first
That's right.
because you can't help someone else if you're passed out next to them.
Mm.
And one thing I do is I love to travel. So I've already put my travel dates on the calendar and
That's right.
everything else works around that.
That's right.
So it can't be done on certain days. Then, like you said, if it's not on the calendar, it won't get done.
That's right. One of the greatest automation coaches for coaches. He coaches coaches with automation, and he tells you to put your year on rails. And what that means is like to put the plan, lay down the tracks for how your year is going to go. Like you said, plan out the vacations, know the dates, get everything booked and ready, and at least as much as possible in stone. Communicate with people. Hey, I'm going to be out of town this week. Set up those systems to be able to have that freedom and not be worrying about, hey, what's going on back at home. Like really give yourself that opportunity to recharge on a vacation or on travel or whatever it is, a staycation, whatever. But just really make sure you have the things in place and communicate with people to be able to do that freely.
Yeah, and people think I'm crazy, but I'm very organized. And so I have a schedule of every show I'm going to do for the radio show, every topic. I have an idea of what I'm doing for every web series every month, who's coming on what date. So I have a whole year schedule from now to December.
Wow.
For my radio show, for my web series. I just did my whole year mapped out for my job for next year. My husband's like, "What is wrong with you?" Like, I need to know what I'm doing so it does not conflict with anything else.
That's right.
And we have our honeymoon date on there. We know where we're going. So I need to make sure that I find time for myself. So when I do unplug, then I don't have to worry about anything or anyone else.
Yeah, and that's setting the clear expectations up front, which I'm sure in your last relationship that didn't work out, I'm sure that wasn't a priority, right? Like, hey, here's what I need, here's what I'm doing. It probably wasn't like that. It was probably very reactive.
Yes, it was all about him, what his needs were, and I ended up putting myself on the back burner. Absolutely.
And ain't nobody got time for that, Sherri. We are all about feeding ourselves and making sure our cup is full and taking care of ourselves. So absolutely, I love this. And if there's a final takeaway, a final piece of wisdom you want to give to our audience, what would that be, Sherri?
My favorite saying is, "A burglar doesn't rob an empty bank." So if you find that there are so many things, bad things, so many tests and trials that are coming your way, is because the devil sees that there is value in you.
Wow.
And so that means for you to keep pushing, to keep forging ahead, because obviously sometimes people see things in us that we don't see. And if they keep coming at you with daggers and arrows to try to stop you from getting somewhere, that means you only need to push even further to get to that finish line, because there's something great waiting for you there.
This is gold. Sherri, how do people stay connected with you? What can they do next to continue their journey?
Well, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Underneath the Hat. I also have a Facebook page for my program, Young Ladies at All Times. And you can also find information about me on my website, SherriSimmons.com, SHERRI Simmons, SIMMONS.com.
Oh my gosh. You're just so powerful, so just precious. I get this precious energy about you, Sherri. It's awesome. It's power and preciousness. It's interesting, almost like a purity, just a great energy all around. And anyone who's around you is blessed and lifted up by your presence and by who you are and what you stand for, all that you're out to accomplish in the world. It's just your shining example, and I really appreciate you being here. And anyone who's listening or watching, definitely stay connected with Sherri. And if you have kids, see how you can support your kids by talking to Sherri. And I'm sure, Sherri, you can help get these plans into more school districts and more places to be able to impact, especially these young ladies Go get the book, Underneath the Hat, SherriSimmons.com. That's SherriSimmons.com. Definitely connect with her there. And Sherri, thank you so much for being here. You're amazing.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Chris. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You deserve it. Keep shining. We'll see you soon, okay?
Thank you.